Buying a mountain bike secondhand is a great way to maximize the value of your spending. On the secondhand market, you can get really good deals on bikes that would typically be out of the budget. There are risks that you take when doing this, and it is a bit more work than when you buy a bike new, but it really is worth it in the end. In this episode, we're going to give you some helpful tips and advice that will allow you to make better purchasing decisions when buying a full suspension mountain bike secondhand. We really want you to maximize the value that you'll get out of this. My last two bikes have been secondhand, and I got really good usage out of them. First off, you'll want to establish the kind of bike that you'll be looking for, and this will be determined by the kind of riding that you'll want to be doing. If you'll be looking to spend long days in the saddle and not riding too much technical terrain, a marathon bike with around 100 mils to 120 mils of travel will suit your needs. If you're wanting to make use of your local trail parks and riding some more technical terrain, a trail bike with around 130 to 160 mils of travel will probably be better suited to your needs. A bike with more travel will likely be more capable when descending, but a bit more sluggish on the climbs, and then vice versa for a bike with less travel. Newer model year bikes will be better climbers and descenders than older model years, and this is due to the recent trends in mountain bike design, making them much more efficient and improving the handling. The basic principle here will to not buy anything older than 1 or 2 years if possible. A newer bike with a low spec will likely perform much better than a high spec bike from several years ago. You do not want to compromise on the bike size that you need. Figure out with a friend or your local bike shop what size will be right for you, and then double check once you've picked the bike that you want to buy. Having a bike that is incorrectly sized for you could really ruin your riding experience by having you too cramped or too stretched out on the bike, and we really do not want that for you, no matter how good the deal is. We really recommend that you tackle this decision of which bike to buy with a friend who's very familiar with the kind of riding you're looking to be doing, and or getting some advice from your local bike shop on what they think will be right for you. It can be tricky to find the right bike, but with a little bit of help, you'll be sorted. Lastly, before you get started on searching, set yourself a budget and ideally aim to keep some of that aside to cover any maintenance costs and the replacing of wear and tear items such as tires, brake pads, and grips. You may also want to fit your preferred saddle and pedals afterwards to have the bike fitting you properly. Chat to your local bike shop to get an estimate of what these costs might be so that you know how much to set aside. By doing this, you'll be more likely to have a bike feeling like your own and running good as new. Once you've got all your preparation under control and you've begun your search through various resellers and marketplaces, here are a few things that we think you should look out for. You want to try and get a good idea for how well the bike has been maintained. Was the suspension serviced regularly? Was the bike washed often? And is the drivetrain in good condition? A well-maintained bike will likely give you fewer troubles down the line. You can get a good idea for how hard a life the bike has had just by paying attention to any cosmetic damage. Most bikes will get a few bumps and scrapes here and there, but a lot of visible wear is a warning sign. You can negotiate the price down a bit based on how much maintenance needs to be done on the bike. For example, if there's a lot of work to be done on things like the bearings, drivetrain, and suspension. Ideally, you want a bike that has been well maintained, but if this is not the case, you can use that to your advantage to drive the price down a bit. Don't be too relaxed on this though. If the bike looks like a lot of work, rather be patient and look for another deal. In terms of a detailed inspection of the bike, it's definitely best to see the bike in person, and if you're unsure of your ability to spot any issues, take a knowledgeable friend along with you. Here are some things we recommend you have a look at. Are the tires worn and do they need replacing? Are the wheels more than a few millimeters out of alignment? A little bit of wobble can be sorted out. Are the gears all shifting smoothly, and is the chain really worn? If it is too worn, you're going to need to replace the whole cassette, chain and chainring pretty soon. Are the brakes pulling smooth and are they effective? Is the suspension cycling smoothly, and make sure there's no lateral play in the rear linkage. Make sure that seat post isn't seized, and if it's got a dropper post, make sure that it's operating smoothly. As we have said, it can be a bit of work to buy a good bike secondhand, but the potential savings really are worth it. It is such a good way to maximize the value of your spend when it comes to performance that you'll get out of the bike. Be patient in your search, ask for help along the way, and enjoy your new ride when you land a good deal. Send through any questions you have for us, like and subscribe to see more content. We'll catch you next time.